Women make up about half our workforce, but they still make 77 cents for every dollar a man earns. That is wrong. And in 2014, it's an embarrassment. Women deserve equal pay for equal work.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show, something we've been talking about on the show quite often throughout today's program. And joining us right now to talk about it is the one and only Herman Cain, Fox News contributor, former presidential candidate, talk show host, and former CEO, we shouldn't forget, of Godfather's Pizza. Hello, Herman.
Hey, Steve. Good to be with you.
Always good to talk to you. Okay, so first of all, let me point out, and I wish that John Boehner was out there with this today and have it in them. Right away when he did that yesterday, I said, wait a minute. And I went back and not only looked up the New York yesterday, I said, wait a minute. And I went back and not only looked up the New York Times story from 2009 talking about the White House being a men's club, but also an 2012 annual report to Congress on White House staff, according to various analysis, showed that women earned about 13% less in the White House on average than men. So as usual, there he is, talking a good game, but doing the opposite.
Exactly. It's the old adage, the pot called in the kettle black. And first of all, those statistics, they don't always represent exactly what the true picture is. There are a lot of factors that contribute to when a woman might be making less than a man. I agree with equal pay for equal work, etc., okay? And most people do. But there are a lot of extenuating circumstances that are not being taken into account, but people have used that statistic to try to, create this perception that this great inequity in business in terms of how women get paid versus men.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, all kinds of things that go into that statistic, like women leaving the workforce to go have a family, or they leave and then they come back, and different kinds of things. And you're absolutely right. But just on its face, the fact, like you said, the fact that Obama himself was paying women 13% less. I mean, where are the Republicans putting this out there today?
Well, they're not. And see, this has been one of the big beefs I've had with the Republicans on a lot of the things that the White House and the Democrats have gotten away with. You have 230 Republicans in the House of Representatives. They ought to be out there countering a lot of this stuff every day. This is why they are at a disadvantage, because they don't really take the time and the energy to go out and refute some of these misconceptions.
Now let's talk about the president. He's today, I don't even know where he was, I forget already, but he's out there, same old nonsense.
Right.
First of all, a State of the Union where your goal is raise the minimum wage. That was basically his goal. Wow, how this country has fallen, in the eyes of the Democrats and President Obama, if that's all he hopes to accomplish. But having said that, you were CEO of Godfather's Pizza.
Yes.
So let me go directly to the source and ask you about the perils of raising the minimum wage or by mandate.
First of all, most people don't even work at the minimum wage. It is a starting wage. Secondly, when the government mandates that you raise it, somebody's going to lose their job. But you never get the stories that come back and say, jobs you could get. No. So government mandating raising the minimum wage is just another way to cause somebody to lose their jobs. And when I ran Godfather's Pizza, we had thousands and thousands of minimum wage workers, but they didn't stay on minimum wage. Minimum wage is designed for people who have minimum skills, and you give them an opportunity, and when they prove themselves, they don't stay on minimum wage. Minimum wage is small ball. And the president didn't have any big ideas, so he's out there now pushing minimum wage, when in fact that's not a big idea, it's not a bold idea. It's just to play at the heartstrings of a lot of people in terms of trying to garner their votes.
Yeah, what struck you yesterday, Herman, about the State of the Union? What did you what perked your ears up, or surprised you, or didn't surprise you?
Well, it was aspirational. He tried to talk about things that, we'd like to be and he'd like for us to be, but it was very short on specifics. I call it small ball. And the thing about it is, when you have an aspirational speech talking about all of the things that we should do and this sort of thing, you have no ideas that inspire people. He was missing inspiration and he was missing motivation. So you can give an aspirational speech all you want to as the leader, but you've got to inspire people. He didn't make the general public or the opposition feel like they wanted to jump up and down and follow some of those aspirational things that he talked about. And here's the biggest reason why. He has lost their trust. And if you don't have the trust of the people you're trying to lead, they're not going to be motivated. So that was how I summed up the whole speech. Bottom line, it was the State of the Union was just another speech.
We're talking to Herman Cain here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Let me point out two things to you here. First of all, I'm going to put a tweet up on the screen. This is 45. You remember the very moving end of the speech where the president told the story of Army Sergeant First Class Corey Remsburg and introduced him, and he got over a 2-minute standing ovation. That transcends parties and partisanship in politics. That's America, and that was a great story. Yeah. So MSNBC has this new host who's supposedly the son of, I don't know, Woody Allen. Some think he's the son of Frank Sinatra. Anyway, the guy's name is Ronan Farrow, and he tweets out, and we'll put up 45 on the screen here. He tweets out, Corey, quote, struggles on the left side. End quote, Congress relates. In other words, he's paralyzed on his left side, this soldier. Yeah. And he's making it, saying that the left side, making it political, like the Democrats or whatever are struggling in Congress. So, I mean, he used the man's paralysis in a political tweet. It's obscene. It is obscene. That's just as bad as some people who are accusing the guy running for governor out in Texas that he really doesn't need that wheelchair. This is just how ridiculous some people are getting in order to try and spin the narrative the way they want to. That was the most inspiring part of the whole speech last night, is when that young man was recognized. Other than that, there was no inspiration. All right, now there's one more tweet I want to have you comment before we let you go, Herman. And Alex Wagner, also on MSNBC, after the rebuttal by the Republicans and Congressman McMorris Rogers gave the GOP response, she tweets out, living room, lady on, I guess it's a settee, S-E-T-T-E, it's like a couch. Yeah. I never heard of it before, but that just shows my ignorance. Where's the needle point? In other words, I mean, mocking her for being a woman, mocking her for being in that setting, saying, where's the needle point? I mean, my God, if this was someone on your network on Fox doing that about a Democrat, all hell would have broken loose. All hell would have broken loose. But see, this again shows, number one, how the liberal media, and she represents a big part of that, they will go to no end to try and attract attention for the wrong reasons, because they have no substance to try to be able to evaluate what it is that they're looking at. Herman, I put it the same. What I do is I remember when Sarah Palin was selected by McCain, someone said, and then one of the people from National Organization of Women said, might as well be a white male. And you know what? That's what they did to you. Yes. That's what they're doing to her. That's what they do to every minority, black, Hispanic, or female that's not in the fold according to how they, in their racist and sexist views, believe it should be. They trash them. That's exactly what they do, because they don't want people to think for themselves. They don't want some of the voters that happen to be Democrat to even consider voting for someone that might be conservative or might happen to be running on a Republican ticket. That's all they have to try and discourage people from looking at folk like that. So what about this, the Farrow and Alex Wagner? Should either or both of them be made to apologize by MSNBC? Yes, they should be made to apologize, because they basically were mocking something that should not have been mocked. But guess what? They're going to get away with it. I mean, this has happened before, as you very well know. And as you indicated, if a conservative were to mock somebody with a handicap, or to mock somebody because they just happen to be sitting and watching a particular show or something of this nature, if it were a conservative, all hell would break loose, as you say, in order to try to get rid of them. So it's clearly another indication of the double standard in the media. Yeah, Herman, thank you so much, sir. Always great to talk to you. Thank you, Steve. Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye-bye. Herman Cain, ladies and gentlemen, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Just Just outrageous. MSNBC should not even shame to themselves. And by the way, if there's no apology, and maybe there has been, I haven't seen it, but if there's no apology, is Joe Scarborough going to march into Phil Griffin's office? Like he indicated, like he said to me on this show, he does. If an apology for something stupidly said isn't forthcoming, he goes in and he says either they apologize or I talk about it. So has he done that? Has he gone into Phil Griffin's office on either of these two fronts? Just outrageous. Outrageous. But what are you going to do? All right, folks, it's been a very, very interesting show. I hope you enjoyed it. Had a lot of great guests, and I'm taking a couple of days off. George Marlin will be here tomorrow, filling in right here, 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time, Newsmax TV. You know where you are. Steve Malzberg Show.